Get me a boat. Big flat bottom boat. Make that boat float. Where we going? I said down, 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 down. Little super magic.
Local music, local guests, local stories, local character. It's Talkin' Back with Jacky Jack. And now, Jacky Jack White.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be with you this early morning. It's a little cold outside. Kind of gets your attention when you walk out there. We've got a great show today, some mighty wonderful guests. They're interesting. You're going to find that out. And it's just great to be here in Sumter County this morning. Hey, I'm talking to somebody. This is a follow-up phone call here with a fellow who played for Auburn and was a great star for Auburn. Then he went over to the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a great star there as well. And we're talking to the one, the only, Mr. Ben Tamburillo. Can you hear me, Ben?
I can, Jacky Jack. Good morning.
Hey, you sound good. You get outside this morning?
Man, it is cold. I haven't been out yet, but I can just look out the window and tell.
Yeah, well, that's, you're just kind of cowardly this morning. You got to get out there and experience it, man. Hey, you'll get to that gym. You'll get to that gym this morning, though, won't you?
Absolutely, 7 days a week.
I'm telling you. I tell you what, we ought to have a whole show, and I'm not just being funny this morning, just about your regimen that you go through, because when's the last year that you played professional football was 1990 what?
91.
1991. That's been a few years ago, and you look like you could play right now, and you just really taking care of yourself. Well, Ben, I wanted to have a follow-up phone call with you after that big game. That was a shocking game. How would you grade that game as far as the games we've seen in history? And, of course, we've only had the type of playoff we've got in college now just for a very few years, but let's go all the way back. How would you rate that particular game?
I would say that that's one of the greatest, championship games in college that I've ever seen, just because when you look at the way that the two teams played the first half and the changes that the staff for Alabama made, the players, it really, you felt like Alabama didn't have a chance in the first half. And then when they came back and put Tua, this freshman quarterback in, it was so dramatic, and it was just a decision that Saban made that really, it was one of the most gutsy decisions I've ever seen. But it worked out. Alabama won. They deserved it. And I think, the drama, the overtime, the missed field goals, the last play touchdown for 40-something yards. I mean, it was like a movie. And for Alabama folks, they ought to be proud. And I think that Alabama, Nick Saban, and the whole football team proved and made Alabama very, very proud.
Absolutely. I know about as much about the real ins and outs of football as I do about sumo wrestling, which is nothing. And but I love to watch it. I enjoy it just like so many people here in the South. But we had talked last week about the fact that there were some people that were saying that they thought that Jalen might be having some problems, and regardless of that, he got them 29-2. Isn't that correct? Isn't that what his record is so far?
He's 26-2. He gets
26-2
starting win for that game. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And so the thing about it is, but it really did take, I think, a lot of guts to say, okay, we're going to put in this true freshman. But what's the key to that, Ben? I think, what's the key to being able to say we're going to put in this fella who really, as far as it goes, really didn't have the kind of, not even near the experience of Jalen. What was the key to him making that decision?
I think Saban obviously has watched him all year. He recruited him. He knows what kind of player and the potential that he has. He wouldn't have done it if he didn't think that Tua was a guy that could come in there and perform. But I think also that you have to be a little bit careful because, you know, what you just said, I think you hit the nail on the head. Jalen Hurts is 26-2 on the biggest stage in college football, the Alabama quarterback. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think they started out a little bit slow, played a little bit conservative, and he got pulled. But he's still one of the most valuable players in the nation.
No question.
And you got to be careful with your expectations, I think, of Tua because he caught lightning in a jar in that second half.
There's no question
that overtime.
Hey,
and next year when he plays, you know, he's going to have some tough days.
Oh, he is, and he's a different type of runner too because he's not. He didn't look like he was really a finesse runner like Jalen. Jalen is like a cobra back there, but this boy, he's kind of a power runner when he runs, isn't he?
He is, but I think the biggest thing that happened, the biggest difference of that second half that caught Georgia off guard is he began to throw the ball. They did not believe that Jalen Hurts was going to throw the football, and not only does he throw the ball, he's a gunslinger. He's not afraid to try to stick it in there and take a chance. I mean, he'll take the chances. He can scramble, but you're right. The way his style of running is, he's not a real big guy, but he's real solid from the waist down, where he's got a lot of strength in his legs. And man, he'll take you head on.
He's a power runner. I want to tell you that when I saw him throw those first couple of balls, I thought that they'd put a football helmet on Nolan Ryan. I mean, but of course he's left-handed, and then I'm talking about he threw some of the most beautiful and tightest passes with velocity on them, and everybody talks about what an incredible throw that was for the last play of the game, but wasn't that a beautiful catch on the other side?
That's exactly right. You know what, Jacky, the player that caught it was a true freshman. They had 5 true freshmen in the game on that last drive.
They had those defensive players out there were young.
It's just
and peach fuzz on their face. I'm telling you, it was incredible.
It is.
When you look back,
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, when you look back on your career, let's say with Auburn, and we know you had a lot of exciting moments playing in the NFL, but what's the most exciting play that you were ever involved in college football?
Right, my senior year, we played Alabama at Legion Field. And that was one of the greatest days I'll remember in my sports career. I was captain of the game. I called the coin toss at the first, and, you know, represented the team going out there. And it was really a lot of fun. But we were behind the whole game. And with about 5 minutes left, the score was 14-17. Alabama was ahead. And we scored on the last, minute reverse with Lawyer Tillman to go ahead 21-17 and win. But it was a big play. It happened at the very end of the game, just like this one did, and it was our biggest win of the year because it was our arch rival, Alabama.
Right, boy, that was a great evening after that game was over with. I bet. I'm talking about joy is a 3-letter word, but it's a big emotion, isn't it?
There ain't no doubt. And when you work hard and you that's your number one goal every year and you achieve it, there's nothing really that you can compare it to. That's the great thing about sports and your teammates and the camaraderie and the hard work that you do. When you do something like Alabama did the other night where you win the whole thing, it's just nothing you can put into words. It's something you'll carry with you forever.
Yeah, we've only got about 3 minutes, and I'll say amen to what you just said. But I want to ask you, if we could sum this up in 3 minutes, about you being recruited by Bear Bryant and how that might have affected the ultimate decision.
Well, Coach Bryant, much like Nick Saban in this era, he was the gold standard of coaches, and Alabama was the gold standard of football.
He's a gold standard of recruiters too, wasn't he?
He was, and you always heard the phrase, "I want to see you in a crimson jersey," that he would tell players that he would recruit and want to play for him, and he said that to me on a payphone up in Sweetwater, Tennessee. He called me one night after they had just beat Penn State. This was in 1982, and one Monday night I got a phone call on a payphone, and the guy picked the phone up and said, "Hey, Tambrell, the telephone." I was like, who is it? You know, and they said, it's Bear Bryant. I thought he was kidding me.
Right.
And I ran down the payphone, picked it up, and sure enough, on the other side was that gravelly, deep voice, hello, Ben. And I can remember my knees trembling, and I felt like it was the voice of the Lord. But he was an amazing character. He was an amazing coach, and he offered me a scholarship. But in the end, obviously his health was declining. He had less control over the program, and I'd had to look into the future 4 years to see where I would be. And just across the state was Pat Dye, who was just like Coach Bryant and had coached with Coach Bryant for 10 years. And I knew that things were on the upswing at Auburn and didn't really know if Coach Bryant would be there the next 4 years at Alabama. And subsequently, he was not. His last game was the Liberty Bowl that same season, passed away a couple months later. But it was a big thrill because he was my hero as a young boy. And,
what was the statement that Bear made when they asked him about retiring, and he mentioned the experience with you? I don't think he mentioned you by name, but what did he say?
Well, he made the comment that when he was in relation to my recruitment, the fact that I was a Birmingham native, the fact that I grew up an Alabama fan, the fact that they had offered me, and the fact that I went to the rival school, Auburn. I chose Auburn over Alabama. He said, well, you know, one of the comments that was made was that if I can't get a young man that grows up an Alabama football player to come play, then I may be done. And I don't know that that's true or not, but I think that was a story that was told, and I don't really believe one person has any effect on a guy like Coach Bryant.
It had a cumulative effect. One other thing I want to say while you're on the phone, we're going a little over, but I don't care. Here's the deal. You know what? Pat Dye is a fine man. I know he thinks the world of you, and you think the absolute world of him. And back in those days when he was young and extremely vital and dynamic, it was kind of hard to turn him down, wasn't it?
That's exactly right. And he's a confident guy, and you knew where he was going, and he had the team to do it. And sure enough, the next year as a freshman I started, we won an SEC championship. I played with Bo Jackson, a Heisman Trophy winner. And, Auburn.
What was that old quarterback's name?
Randy Campbell.
That's right, Randy. I think the world of him, too. He's a great guy. Ben, we're out of time. We're more than out of time, but I want to tell you something. It's always great to talk to you. Say hello to Katie and Julia and Anna and Ben Allen when you talk to him. We're proud of him and what he's accomplished in his life. And we'll be talking to you again soon. All right, boy?
All right, Jacky Jack. Thank you, man.
God bless
to
you.
the family, man.
God bless you.
All right.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
Dr. Russ MacArthur of MacArthur Chiropractic in Meridian says many back pains are merely a result of your body's attempt to regain or maintain balance. Once balance is achieved, these attempts become unnecessary and your back returns to normal. Dr. Russ MacArthur, developer of the MacArthur Method, recognizes the balance patterns the body uses and facilitates this recovery. Quite often, this recovery is accelerated and stabilization is obtained in only a few visits. Since 1978, Dr. Russ MacArthur has given thousands of adjustments with the powerful MacArthur Method. His patients feel better, are more relaxed and stable in the back than ever before. Call today to discover his revolutionary treatment method for yourself. MacArthur Chiropractic, 4808 Great River Drive, Meridian, 601-693-1100. Hours are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 until 12 and 2 till 6. Tuesday and Thursday, 9 till 12. Call 601-693-1100 and online at MacArthurChiropractic.com.
Well, I've gone a lot of miles in my young years. I've been overseas and I bummed over here. Every place I've been has been a lot of fun. But I like Livingston.
It's Saturday morning and you're listening to Jacky Jack White. Talking Back with Jacky Jack.
Man, I love that singer. He is a great singer, you know. I like Livingston. I tried to sound like Johnny Cash. I met old Johnny. His in-laws were incredible friends of mine. In fact, just like my own sisters. And I'll never when I finally got around to meeting him and everything, and he was as shy as he could be, and he had this big voice just talking to him. I mean, he just had such a resonant voice. It would shake the skin on you. It was something else. Well, talking about impressive human beings. This gentleman was director of Veteran Affairs here in Sumter County. He helped an awful lot of people over the years, and he and his late wife Julie have always been. They were just best friends I've just about had in this part of the world. And he's an incredible golfer. And I don't want to brag on him too much because he'll have to get out of that door and his head will swell up. And we don't want that to happen. Wayne Dees, it's good to have you with us today.
Good to be with you, Jack.
You, my hero. You know, and I'm going to apologize to Bobby DeLeeze because I always tell him that he's my hero.
Yeah.
So if he's not listening, you're my hero, Wayne.
Yeah, Bobby Dell's a pretty good one.
He's all right, isn't he? We've had a lot of fun over the years. Wayne, I want to talk to you today about something that's always intrigued me. And as many times as we've taken car trips and driven Kelly Stevens crazy because we don't ever stop talking, because we enjoy talking, and we can talk on a myriad of subjects, some of which I don't have any clue about, but I just go ahead and talk anyway. But here's what I want to ask you about. Tell me, you'd got out of the Navy. What age were you when you got out of the Navy?
I was 42. I retired in 1982 in July.
That's right. And so you moved over to this part of the world. And what was the decision behind that move to Sumter County?
When I decided to retire, I wrote to Montevallo. I wrote to Livingston University to get information about school because I wanted to go back to school.
Uh-huh.
And Livingston was the only one that sent me any information. So
you shouldn't have sent a photo to those other places.
That's right. And anyway, I was only about 60, 70 miles from home too. So,
boy, I tell you what, thank you God for bringing Wayne and Julie to this part of the world. So what was behind your decision to go back to college?
Well, that was the main reason I got out of the service when I did, because I had just been selected for E8, and I decided not to take it because I was going to have to stay another 3 years.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to get out. I wanted to teach and coach, which the teaching part, I guess I did for a little while, not much. But, but with the job.
You didn't have to teach that course that Hoss Bolin taught, where he was talking about the age of chivalry. He said, we're going to talk about the age of chivalry today.
Yeah, I had a couple of classes on the Hoss.
You did, yeah. And you were able to get through that. It didn't warp you.
It didn't hurt me.
Yeah. Well, now look, so you go back to school, you're 43, isn't that right?
Right.
43 years of age. And then what possessed you to say, well, I'm in school, I'm eligible, I think I'm just going to go ahead and go out for the golf team?
Yeah, that's about the way it was. I went in and talked to the athletic director.
Who is the athletic director?
I can't think of his name right now. He coached basketball. He was from up at Delta State after he left here.
Ed Murphy.
Burns, yeah. Ed Murphy, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Ed looked at me and he kind of looked at me like I wasn't really serious. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I had all my eligibility left, and
did you play on any golf teams in the service?
Oh yeah, played on.
You played everywhere, didn't you? You played in Colorado and all kinds of places, didn't you?
California, Colorado.
Played Hawaii.
I played over there one time.
Yeah, I played a tournament in Hawaii one time, and I just got off the plane. I had, what do you call it, jet lag. That was and I was suffering, and the guy I was playing with, my foursome, he was an airline pilot. He said, Jack, I'll tell you what you do. He said, touch your toes and stay down. And I did, and the blood rushed to my forehead. Yeah. But anyway, so you went ahead and you played. Tell me, what was the experience like? Number one, you're 43 years old. Number one, you're back in college. That's like that Rodney Dangerfield movie.
Well, I'll give you the first experience.
All right.
We went to North Alabama to play, and Fred Saquon was the coach.
Uh-huh.
We go up there, and I get on the first tee, and I look back, and I hear Fred and the other coach are talking, and one of the kids walked back to him and said, Coach, they got an old man playing with them. And he said, Well, going up there, maybe you'll learn something from him. After the first 2 holes, that kid was on me like all the way around. Boy, I wish my dad would do something like this. Boy, this was just the greatest thing. And it just pumped me up. He didn't know how nervous I was when I got on that first tee, you know. And
how did you do as medalist for that team?
I was a medalist in the Gulf South Conference tournaments every year that I was there.
That's fantastic.
And, we never did.
So that golf coach was kind of glad to have you on the team, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, we had a. In fact, the last year he gave me a half tuition scholarship. That quarter, and I told him, I said, I appreciate that. Now I can tell my grandkids I played golf under a scholarship.
That's great. Yeah.
But
I like things that I can tell my children like that, but I make half of them up. But you didn't have to make that up.
No, it was a great experience for me. I just kept me young all these years, working around all these kids.
Absolutely. And the other part of that is you later went on and you coached a golf team for years for Sumter Academy.
Yeah, so 14 years at Sumter, yeah.
That's right. And you had some pretty notable players, didn't you?
Yeah, I had 2 won the state championship. We never won the team championship. We came in third. Excuse me. We came in third place about twice. And, you know, back then they'd have 20, 26 teams that were playing back then. We were always up in the top 5, 6 teams every time. I always had, you know, Hoss and the baseball team always cost me a championship because they would always keep one player out that I could have used for that 4th man, you know, get that 4 score in.
Right.
And, but we'd always come up about one player short every year.
I tell you, it's kind of cold today, but I tell you what we ought to do. Let's go to Hoss's house after this is over with today. Let's just roll him down the hill.
He'd roll pretty good.
Because he rolls better than he walks now. Let's just roll him down the hill.
Yeah. Oh, Hoss.
Christian Love.
Yeah, Hoss is a good friend.
Love him. I hate to say that.
I hate to see he can't get around like he used to because we had a lot of good times.
Oh, I'm telling you. You know, I went with you on one of those golf trips. Mm-hmm. We went to Aliceville. Mm-hmm. And I went you did a tremendous job. You were a quiet but firm leader. Yeah. And that's what it takes sometimes.
I never worked tried to change a lot of them spring. I just tried to give them pointers.
But you'd help them when they'd go off the ranch. You'd get that grip right and alignment, which is things that are extremely important.
Yeah, and take them out and show them situations they need to try to get out of.
Course management, and also you kind of got in their head sometimes. And by the way, it's a lot more than just coaching golf. It's making young men that are citizens. You had some girls on that team, too.
I had one, Allison Greens, and and she's now with FootJoy shoes. You know, you started. She was with a Nike and Under Armour.
And just think, it started. It started with you.
And
good girl.
Her senior year, I always took the seniors, whether they made the team or not for the championship, and I'd always take them with us so they get that experience. But that year up at Aliceville, she actually qualified for that year.
Isn't that fantastic?
And we played at Selma.
That's fantastic. Hey, Wayne, what would you tell somebody that's sitting out there that might be even in their mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, or even 43 years old like you were when you went back to school? They're sitting around there saying, I'm just too old. I just can't do this. What would you say to them?
I'd say get out there. You know, golf, you can play golf all your life. I just turned 78 years old, and I played golf Monday over in Montgomery, and I can't believe the difference in the weather then and today.
Right.
But, you know, I go out and I still hit the ball pretty decent.
Man, you hit the ball great, and you score well, and all of us kind of need a bucket on our head when we're putting. That putter feels like a rattlesnake sometimes, but you still hit the ball so well. I mean, you really do.
But they have to remember, too, that when they go out there, that it is a game.
That's right. That golf ball doesn't know how old you are, by the way.
If we were out trying to make a living at it, we'd all start a
That'd be a whole different ball game, wouldn't it? Wayne, you're the greatest. I really appreciate you spending time with us today. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to our listeners. It's an example to them and an encouragement to them if they're out there and they're saying, I just don't know. I'm talking about just going to school. So I just don't know if I can. I'm just too old. Let me tell you something. You go on and you live your dream, and it may start right there in the classroom.
That's right.
God bless you, Wayne. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks a lot, Jackie.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
York Drug has a new phone number, and they are there when you need them. Put the number in your phone now. Ready? The new number is 205-725-8118. You never know when you're going to have a question about a prescription or over-the-counter medication, or if your order's ready. Eddie and the staff are ready to answer your questions. Put the new number in your phone or write it down for York Drug when you need it. The new number is 205-725-8118. That's 205-725-8118. York Drug also has new store hours 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. And a new phone number, 205-725-8118. 205-725-8118. Always one call away. York Drug.
Hurry in now for our first big sale of the year.
And at Kia of Meridian, get paid for your trade. Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
I told them the payment I wanted, and they made it happen.
They got me into a brand new car and lowered my payment.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
And new for 2018, we have the Vehicle Exchange Program. If you're in a current vehicle or lease that you don't like or your payment's too high, we want to lower your payment and get you into a new Kia for less.
Plus, only $17 down delivers.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
I was in and out in a flash, and I got a great deal.
Everyone was so nice. They treated me just like family.
Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
Call Kia of Meridian now, 601-483-6444. Always open at KiaofMeridian.com.
Example stock number 872887, 2016 Kia Soul, MSRP $22,220, $17 down, $272 a month for 84 months at 3.9% APR financing. Dealer retains all factory rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and doc fee with approved credit. Guaranteed credit approval may require money down. See dealer for details.
Alabama and Mississippi is Talking Back with Jacky Jack.
We're back here with Talking Back with Jacky Jack, the show for the highly informed Southern girl and boy and Southern lady and gentleman. And speaking of a great Southern gentleman, we have University of West Alabama's basketball coach, Mr. Alan Sharp, with us. Alan, how are you doing this morning?
Good day. Good morning, Jack.
This weather get your attention a little bit when you got out there?
Oh, man. That'll wake you up quick.
I'm talking about it. You got any of your children awake this morning when you were leaving?
Everybody's in bed.
They look like little zombies, didn't they? They're good-looking little zombies, but they look like little zombies just laying there.
Yeah, they take advantage of Saturday mornings. Now, we do have basketball games this morning. Garrison plays in Meridian at before lunch, and Alley and Anderson are playing over here at First Baptist this morning. So, got some big games this morning.
Well, I tell you what, they're great little athletes. You think Garrison eventually is going to play? If you were guessing, is basketball going to be his sport? As he gets on, and is there any other sport? Of course, he plays a little golf too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's working at it. You know, I think he's at an age. He's 14, and he's kind of starting to think about the future a little bit. And he puts a lot of time in, so he's on the right track. It's hard, you know. It's hard to get on a college basketball team. It's hard to get on any college athletic team.
Right.
And you know, as a coach, you see it because there's so many kids out there we'd like to recruit, but there's not room for them. So if he wants to do it, he better get to work.
Yeah. And Garrison, you think he's going to be a baseball player or a basketball player? He's fast.
Garrison?
I mean, Anderson.
I tell you, Anderson likes that baseball.
He's good. He looks good. He looks like an infielder.
He likes it. Yeah, he played on the little team here in town, and they had a good time.
And then Allie is a Renaissance woman because she plays music, plays piano, and she plays just about every sport. Is there one sport that she's really better at than any of them?
Right now, I'd say basketball. She's into basketball right now. So.
Well, they've certainly been exposed to basketball, have they not?
They have.
Speaking of. Tell us about the next couple of games and what we're looking at.
Yeah, we go to Delta State Monday night, and we've had a couple games here at home, and time to get back on the road and play a tough road game. You know, from the last time we talked, we had sort of a heartbreaker. We lost to Shorter College in here on
the last second,
whatever that was, Saturday, and then we got a win the other night against Lee, so it got us back on track.
Good.
Really played well the other night against Lee, and hopefully we can carry it over, head over to Cleveland, Mississippi on Monday, and get the Statesman.
Oh yeah, man!
It's always good to beat Delta State.
Oh yeah. What's their record?
They're about 500. They're just pretty good. But I'm telling
you guys are 11-5.
We're 11-5.
What are you in the conference?
5-3. So we're right there at the top. There's still a lot of basketball there. There's still 12 games left in the league, so there's going to be some more losses. There's a team or two, couple teams ahead of us, and you know there's still a lot that can happen. We can move up, but we could also move it down. So we just got to stay with it. Basketball's a long season. You just got to stay with it.
Tell us a little bit about some of your players.
Well, we have the one that stands out the most is he was leading the nation in scoring. A kid named Charles Eaton that's from Selma, Alabama.
He's tough.
And he's a very, very talented kid. And he's a little bit older kid. He played for us 2 years ago, actually, and didn't work out. And it's funny how things work out.
But that hardly ever happens.
No, I know.
What's happened with Charles?
I know.
That hardly ever happens.
I know. It's really good for him.
It's a good story, isn't it?
It is. It's a sort of a last chance here to, you know, get a degree and play his final year of eligibility. And he's a talented kid.
He's taking advantage of it, isn't he?
He
Big time.
He is. He's come a long way. And, you know, the longer you're with kids, the more you develop a relationship with them, and the more you invest in them. And, boy, you just want them to do well. And, you know, we want to win every game we can, but you sure want them to do well when they get out of here.
He is developed as a basketball player, but I believe he's developed as a leader.
He does. He's got to. And, you know, we all can lead. But I tell you, when you have a guy on the team that averages as many points as he does, they carry a lot of weight.
That's right.
And those guys need to use that to their advantage to help our team.
Well, absolutely. I tell you what, I remember a long time ago, and I always go back to baseball because that's really about the only thing I can talk about, that and a little bit about golf. But you remember Keith Hernandez?
First base.
He was fantastic, great defensive player, but he hit for high average, real leader. But when he started getting there toward the last of his career where he didn't hit as well, hey, they didn't listen to him as much. You know what I'm saying?
I tell you, that's right.
He lost his mojo there.
That's right.
And so you know, I guess in their eyes he was losing his credibility. But when you've got a fellow like Charles and some of those, tell us about some more.
Yeah, you know, I have another little guard that is here by way of a junior college named Josh Fleming, who's averaging double figures. Another senior, that's Gavin Robinson's from Memphis, Tennessee. He's averaging, you know, we have those three guys do the majority of the scoring. And
I love just watching Josh handle that ball.
He's quick.
He's very quick.
He's like my daddy would say, he's like a little gnat. That's South Georgia for you, gnat.
Very sharp. He's like a little gnat.
Yeah.
Boy, he moves, though, doesn't he?
He does. You know, we got a couple of kids from Australia that are good players for us. And
now, how did you get these folks from Australia?
Well, there's a connection. You know, there's a guy that knows a guy and will tell you about him. And, you know, obviously we don't bring them over here on a visit. Can't afford that. But, you know, the Internet does so much for you these days.
Fantastic.
A lot of recruiting, you don't even have to leave the office.
You go on Skype or something like that, right?
You can see everything you need to see on video.
That's right. See by video.
So it was one of those type of deals where we saw enough videotape on them and got enough recommendations about them.
But what's a good thing? You didn't have to go all the way to Australia, did you?
Well, we need to. You know, that'd be a good recruiting
what
trip.
I was going to tell you is what do like some of these church folks do. They'll say, we're going on a mission trip. Well, where are you going? Hawaii. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you need to go on a mission trip. By the way, Alan goes to a wonderful church here that meets 9:30 for Bible study on Sunday morning and 10:30 for worship service. He goes to the Livingston, Alabama Church of Christ, and they have one of the very best preachers I guess I've ever met anywhere. And he's humble. That's what the thing I like about him, he's humble.
What's his name?
Oh, that's me, Jacky Jack White. And we have a good time. All right, Alan. Now, look, what is the key in your mind to, if you're talking to some young person, I'm talking about somebody 8 or 9 years old, and they're having a little difficulty with ball handling that ball, with moving it down the court. You know what I'm saying? What can those folks do?
Get in the gym and practice.
Mm-hmm.
There's no secret to any of this now.
Mm-hmm. How often do they practice? Every day?
I mean, you have to pour every day. You have to pour.
How many
yourself
minutes a
into
day?
it. I mean, hours. I mean, well, what's the goal? I mean, is the goal to be on your high school team?
Mm-hmm.
Is the goal to be on a college team?
Right.
You got to decide what the goal is.
Right.
And then work towards it. But,
right.
I mean, it's so, like I was telling you earlier, it's so hard to get a spot, whether it's on a high school team, and especially on a college team.
How much did you practice? Do you have any idea?
No idea.
But you practiced every day, didn't
I was
you?
engulfed. Like, when my dad was coaching,
Right.
Ever since I could walk,
right.
every afternoon, I've been at a basketball practice, whether it was my dad's team, whether it was my team. And it was just
when you
day.
practiced, did you do things like, instead of just practicing willy nilly, we're gonna today we're gonna be practicing dribbling between our legs as we go down the court. Did you practice with situations in your mind?
You do, and you need to have an imagination, because most of the time you're not going to have 4, 5, 6 guys in there to work out with you. You're going to be by yourself, and it can be lonely, and it can become boring. But as a young kid, you need to have an imagination.
That's right.
See things on the floor happening and play accordingly.
That's right. I'm a big believer in that. I'll never forget, somebody told the story. I don't think it was apocryphal. I think it's a real story. But somebody showed up on the practice range, and this was when Nicholas was in his prime, and he was hitting golf balls. And these two boys were sitting on a bench. You may have heard this story, but one of them said to the other, says, "Boy, I wish I could hit a golf ball like that." And Nicholas turned around and says, "No, you don't." He said, "If you want to hit a golf ball like this, you'd be out here hitting 1,000 of them a day." And that's the way it is. You have to, and look, they say it's perfect. Practice makes perfect. Make sure your fundamentals are good and practice those fundamentals. But, it also comes down to the fact that perfect, persistent practice. You have to be persistent with it. And you have to have the fire in your belly. You have to have that desire.
A lot of things we're talking about, whether it's a golf swing, whether it's handling a basketball, those are learned skills.
Right.
It's not something because it's not genetic, because your mama and daddy.
That's right.
Now, athleticism and height and those types of things are genetic, but the things we're talking about are learned skills. You can be as good as you want to be at those things. Shooting a basketball is a learned skill.
Right.
Hitting a baseball.
Right.
And it's up to you. It's up to the kids how good you want to be at it.
Well, I think that's true. I never had a great desire to be a basketball player. I played because I'm so tall and everything, but I had that fire in the belly about baseball, of course. Well, anyway, I worked at camp with Coach Meyer at Lipscomb, I worked it every summer, and I'd come up there and I'd have a little speech. It was pumped up on life, which was a funny speech. Yeah. But anyway, I never had really a good shooting skills. We didn't even have 3 points back in those days, but like foul line right on there. I just didn't have. Well, anyway, I watched them, and of course, when I didn't have anything to do, so I just go ahead and practice right along with them a lot of times. Well, one day we were getting ready to leave, and the practice was over with, and he says, "Okay, everybody, who shoots the foul shot? The manager, Bobby, or Jacky?" They go, Bobby. And he says, "Okay, Jacky, you shoot it." So I said, okay. So I just went up there, and I just, put that hello on it, that little hello move, and bloop it. Well, everybody comes running up to me, hugging me and slapping me on the back. And I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. They didn't think I could do that. Ran off, and the Coach Meyer comes up to me and says, "You know why they're so happy?" I said, Why? I said, if you'd missed, they'd had to run some more laps. Did you know that? If you miss that goal, they're going to run more laps.
Yeah.
But, what I'm saying is just observing, being around it a lot. But your dad said to me when we were together last time that he thinks that maybe there's a whole lot of folks that have that talent and that ability, but they're not willing to pay the price and sacrifice of practice.
Sacrifice friends, sacrifice your little phone that you carry around,
Right.
sacrifice
Right.
all the social media.
Right.
There's a lot of distractions for kids these days. And it's tough for them to walk away from those things to go work out in the gym.
But, Alan, the payoff is mighty good, isn't it?
It is.
It's a sense of accomplishment.
Hey, we got a 14-year-old at home, Garrison, who still doesn't have a phone. And we're holding firm to that, and we're going to see how long we can stay with that.
I don't know how to tell you this, but he's got pigeons. He's got them on the roof, and he's been using pigeons. So, see, he's got around this thing. You haven't given him a phone, but he's got pigeons.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm making that up. Hey, Alan, it's always good to see you. Appreciate you very much, and we wish the very best for your team, and I love your team. I think they're doing fantastic. You keep up the great work.
We'll
all right?
do it. Thank you, Jack.
All right, boy. God bless you.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
Welcome to What Is Wrong With You People. I'm your host, the Fairy Godmother, and with me today is the Leprechaun.
Hello!
And our good friend, the Gift Horse. Okay, we're pretty much used to people not believing in us.
Makes no sense. All folks gotta do is follow me to a pot of gold. A pot of gold!
And you've seen what I can do with a pumpkin and a wand.
Amen, brother. Right in the mouth.
But why on earth are people putting off going to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com to find a great job?
Gotta believe in those guys.
The jobs are local. It's easy to use.
He nailed it. Completely free.
And still, there are job seekers who haven't logged on to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com.
What is wrong with you people? I mean, fine. You don't want to trust the little green man.
Fairy godmothers may be a little out of favor today. If wishes were horses.
Not good one.
But seriously, no excuses. Go today. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
That you can believe in. Oh, this guy.
Dr. Russ MacArthur of MacArthur Chiropractic in Meridian says many back pains are merely a result of your body's attempt to regain or maintain balance. Once balance is achieved, these attempts become unnecessary and your back returns to normal. Dr. Russ MacArthur, developer of the MacArthur Method, recognizes the balance patterns the body uses and facilitates this recovery. Quite often, this recovery is accelerated and stabilization is obtained in only a few visits. Since 1978, Dr. Russ MacArthur has given thousands of adjustments with the powerful MacArthur Method. His patients feel better, are more relaxed and stable in the back than ever before. Call today to discover his revolutionary treatment method for yourself. MacArthur Chiropractic, 4808 Great River Drive, Meridian, 601-693-1100. Hours are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 until 12 and 2 till 6. Tuesday and Thursday, 9 till 12. Call 601-693-1100 and online at MacArthurChiropractic.com.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
York Drug has a new phone number, and they are there when you need them. Put the number in your phone now. Ready? The new number is 205-725-8118. You never know when you're going to have a question about a prescription or over-the-counter medication, or if your order's ready. Eddie and the staff are ready to answer your questions. Put the new number in your phone or write it down for York Drug when you need it. The new number is 205-725-8118. That's 205-725-8118. York Drug also has new store hours 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. And a new phone number, 205-725-8118. 205-725-8118. Always one call away. York Drug.
Alabama and Mississippi is Talking Back with Jacky Jack.
Here we are back with Talking Back with Jacky Jack. Thomas Vaughn, are you on the line?
I am on the line.
All right.
Like an early bird.
You're not on speakerphone. You're just speaking normally over your cell phone. Is that correct?
That's correct, Jack.
All right,
I
good.
thought you were going to call me on my landline.
Well, we did call you on it, but for some reason it wasn't coming through. And this is live radio, folks. This is what happens on those kinds. I don't know why we couldn't get through, but anyway, that's as my dad would say from the pulpit. That's neither here nor there.
I never really understood that, but whatever.
That's right. You know another
it's good
expression.
to hear your voice, and it's make sure I got this right. Now, this is not the Suganacci Review, but it's
Talking Back with Jacky Jack. Now, do you remember where that title came from?
I do indeed. I think you were the late, great Aaron Durham on the radio.
That is correct. In Manville, Tennessee. So this is kind of a regifted title. But anyway, hey, Thomas writes a column for the Southern Standard there in McMinnville, Tennessee. It has to do with mostly politics, but he's such a great writer. He turns around and does other things. He's also the president of Bob White Music. He's been a publisher of some hit songs for people like Charlie Pride and Neil McCoy and Steve Wariner, and again, as we say in McMinnville, I don't know who all. And so we've had a lot of fun over the years.
You had some hits. You had some hits. Don't be modest.
I had
some hits.
I had some nice hits. My children wish that I could have a few more. They love spending money. Yeah. Hey, we were talking about the other night the challenge of the GOP. Can you define that for me, sir?
Where to begin? There are several challenges for the GOP, and let me kind of outline them for you quickly, and you can jump right in and ask me a question anytime you want to, because you won't break my train of thought, because I don't have a train of thought. But anyway, well, I think one of the biggest challenges for the GOP is to get their own house in order, because there are so many chinks in the GOP right now and they're hard to figure out and hard to do anything about. First of all, you've got the brand new member of the GOP sitting in the White House.
Right.
He was never in the GOP before. And then you've got the sort of the fringe Republicans. I call them the right-wing nuts. And then you've got the established Republicans. So that's you've got really a cultural chasm there between all these folks.
Well, and geography has a lot to do with it too, because you take somebody like Susan Collins, and they want to call her a Republican in name only, a rhino. But the truth of the matter is if she wants to stay in office, she has to walk a pretty fine line, doesn't she?
Sure, she does, and I don't think she's a rhino, but I think she's a pretty moderate Republican, and I have a lot of admiration for her on many issues. But one of the other real internal problems that they have is intergenerational, because you've got you can either call them the old lions or the dinosaurs, whatever, however you want to characterize them. They're really old, and I can appreciate that because I'm getting that way myself. But anyway, you've got in the Senate alone, you've got you could probably 9, maybe 10 senators who are in their 80s, and leading the list is Dianne Feinstein. She's 84, and then she's followed closely by Charles Grassley. And
of course, Orrin Hatch is retiring.
He's going down the hatch, if I could create a pun on live radio.
The people out there in listening land, they're just rolling on the floor on that one now, Thomas.
Yeah, they're running for the door. They're rolling on the floor or running for the door. But anyway, Orrin Hatch is down. I doubt if John McCain's going to run again. I'd be surprised.
No, not with his health situation.
And,
he's a crotchety.
But he's basically terminal. If they would admit it, I think he's terminal with cancer. So anyway, you've got you've got that cluster of senators who are in their 80s.
Well, let me ask you this,
and
because
then
here's
close
the bottom
behind them are
line.
guys in the 70s.
Yeah, here's the bottom line question. That is, do you think that that the Republicans will lose control of Congress and also of the Senate, or one or the other?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and here's the answer. Let me answer sort of the second part of your question first. They could very well lose the House, and here's why. All the Democrats have to do in the House is pick up 24 seats, and it's Pelosi bar the door. She's the majority leader again, with all that entails and everything you can imagine, and some things you can't imagine.
They're smelling a little blood in the water too, aren't they?
Sure they are. Sure they are. In fact, you'd think they'd won the Super Bowl or something when they won a house in Virginia, a House seat in Virginia. Well, one robin doesn't make a spring, but that could be an omen of things to come. So it's pretty shaky in the House. The Senate is a different story in a way, but they could be vulnerable there. But I would say, reminding myself and others of what Mark Twain said, he said, predictions are difficult, especially about the future. And the one thing we can count on is that 2018 is going to be a real bitter battle for the Congress and for control of
now,
politics and policy.
Before anybody thinks that we've got a rabid partisan on the line here, tell us a little bit about your politics.
Well, I'm a little like Reagan. I'm like a midget Reagan because I used to be a Democrat. You well know I ran for the State House of Representatives as a Democrat in the primary, and you were right there beside me, and you were policing the voting area, enforcing the distance from placards to the polling booth. Do you remember that?
I do remember it pretty well.
I think that was up around Miss Claire's or somewhere up in one of those districts.
It was.
I got a memory like a big gray thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was born and raised Democrat, and I invoked what Reagan said. I didn't leave the Democrats; they left me, and I came to my senses. But anyway, back to the Senate situation. The Senate situation is this, and depending on who's doing the analysis, you can sort of preach it square or preach it round. My view of it is this. The Republicans, thanks to the state in which you reside now, are now down to a 51 to 49 margin, razor-thin margin in the Senate. And I think, by the way, in your other Republican senator, is it still Shelby?
Yes, sir.
He's not a spring chicken either, is he?
No, he's not. But he hunts down here. He's got a cousin, lawyer Drayton Pruitt, down here in Sumter County. Okay. He hunts down here.
Yeah, what age man is he?
He's in his mid-80s.
That's what I figured. So anyway, you got a razor-thin margin, so you could say, yeah, they're vulnerable. But here's the rest of the story. As you know, and your attentive listeners know, there are 100 members of the Senate. They serve a 6-year term, and every 2 years, roughly a third of them are up for re-election or going home. And so what you have here in 28, you've got a bigger challenge for the Democrats than you do for the Republicans. The Republicans are barely in charge of the Senate, but they are in charge.
Do you see any Democrats on the Senate side that might be in trouble in the upcoming election?
I haven't, to be honest about it, Jack. I've been pretty busy on other things. I would think Menendez is. I think he's up, but I'm not sure about that. Mm-hmm. You know, the guy that beat the rap on all that.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Richard Shelby is 83 years old.
83.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the race, I think one of the races to watch will be the one in Tennessee.
Corker's seat.
Because for Corker's seat, and And Phil Bredesen, the Democrat, has come out, and he was
Phil Bredesen is popular.
Nashville.
He's a popular man,
Very
especially
popular.
among the entertainment people.
Oh yeah, and let's call it what it is. He was a pretty good mayor of Nashville and a pretty good governor of Tennessee.
Thomas, we're about to lose time here, but I want to keep you on this next segment as well. But I want to ask you real quick: how in the world did you get in a situation where you were working at the Pentagon and then writing speeches for some of the senators and different ones?
Preparation and luck, my friends.
You worked with some pretty notable folks, didn't you?
I did. In fact, I couldn't be partisan, but I was kind of a lobbyist, I guess. I worked on Capitol Hill. I wrote speeches for Sam Nunn and Strom Thurmond. I actually wrote 2 speeches for Teddy Kennedy.
Yeah, and you also were good friends with our friend in Meridian, late Sonny Montgomery.
Oh, yeah.
Thomas, we're out of time on this segment, but stay on the phone.
Okay. I want to talk about him when we come back.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
Dr. Russ MacArthur of MacArthur Chiropractic in Meridian says many back pains are merely a result of your body's attempt to regain or maintain balance. Once balance is achieved, these attempts become unnecessary and your back returns to normal. Dr. Russ MacArthur, developer of the MacArthur Method, recognizes the balance patterns the body uses and facilitates this recovery. Quite often, this recovery is accelerated and stabilization is obtained in only a few visits. Since 1978, Dr. Russ MacArthur has given thousands of adjustments with the powerful MacArthur Method. His patients feel better, are more relaxed and stable in the back than ever before. Call today to discover his revolutionary treatment method for yourself. MacArthur Chiropractic, 4808 Great River Drive, Meridian, 601-693-1100. Hours are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 until 12 and 2 till 6. Tuesday and Thursday, 9 till 12. Call 601-693-1100 and online at MacArthurChiropractic.com.
There's nothing like a great steak that's seasoned to perfection and is char-grilled. Around these parts, folks know that Diamond Gems is the place for a great steak. You know a steak is good when fans travel from Tuscaloosa, Meridian, Birmingham, everywhere to dine at Diamond Gems and Mrs. Donna's. But they have so much more. Southern-style barbecue, great sides, a large salad bar, fresh local seafood, and homemade desserts. A full bar with your favorite drinks. And the best lunch Thursday and Friday starting at 11. Dinner Wednesday through Saturday. College students, bring your ID for Wednesday specials. A casual country atmosphere, friendly service, and awesome food. Come on down to Diamond Gems and Mrs. Donna's, Highway 28 West, or exit 17 if you're traveling down the road. Diamond Gems and Mrs. Donna's.
Get me a boat. Big flat bottom boat. Make that boat float. Where we going? I sit down, 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 down. Little soup and magic.
Local music, local guests, local stories, local character. It's Talking Back with Jacky Jack. And now, Jacky Jack White.
Oh, now that would be me talking back with Jacky Jack. That song sure brings back some good memories. We had some good players on that show that night, and one of them's going to be here in just a little while, and we're looking forward to talking to him a little bit. And by the way, I want to say something about our sponsors, if I might. Jim and Donna Dial are two of the hardest workers and most talented folks I know, and everybody loves going to Diamond Gems. We've been with them from the start. And then Russ MacArthur, I feel like that commercial for Bosley Hair Products, because not only is he a sponsor, but I am also a client of Dr. Russ MacArthur and have been for 20-something years, and he does a tremendous job. And I don't think Mississippi Chris Sharp, I could name dozens of others people who've been going to him for years and years and years, and he uses MacArthur Method, and it's a very effective way of chiropractic, and he does a marvelous job. Thomas Vaughn, are you still there?
I'm here.
Can I tell you something? You are looking good on radio today, buddy. This is about the best I've seen you look in a long time.
I have got a radio face.
You've got a radio face. Now,
hey,
look.
Jack,
go ahead.
I know you need a tip.
All right.
You need to, somewhere on your show, and one of these days when you have time, you need to play Yakety Yak.
Yakety Yak. Don't talk back.
Yeah.
The boot. Well, of course.
Boot Randolph did the saxophone.
Yeah, and was it the Argyles that sang Yakety Yak? I don't remember.
It was two or three. It was the Argyles did it, and then somebody else did it. But I digress.
You certainly do.
I want to talk about, if I could, it's your show, but I'd like to talk about Sonny Montgomery a little bit.
Would you please?
A dear
I was a big fan of his, and he was a good friend.
He's a good friend of mine too, and I was fortunate enough to take him on a couple of trips because in one of my many ill-defined duties as legislative liaison officer was to take these members of Congress on trips out to the military forts and bases and all the services and all that kind of stuff. So I took Sonny on a couple of trips. And then when I was in when I was in Hawaii the first time, I forgot who his lama was. One of those guys has something called the Legislative Assistant for Military Affairs, if they have anything to do with any of those committees. So he called me and he said, Congressman Montgomery's coming out to Hawaii, and he'd like for you to be his escort officer. And I said, I'd be honored to do it. And he said also he would like to get a bunch of folks from Alabama so he can meet with them. He'd love to have lunch with them, if that's possible. And I said, that's possible. We can do it. And he came out and we had the best time. I think I actually showed you some pictures.
No, I've got some. You made me some copies. I have got some pictures of Sonny Montgomery and yourself, and he's testing out an artillery piece there.
Yeah. And then, again, when I was in Panama, a different guy from his office called. And I know you find this hard to believe, but the members of Congress, they like to go to places like Hawaii and Panama in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
In the winter.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. I was, anyway. So he wanted to come down to Panama and get a briefing and all that. And he came down, and there's a whole, they call it CODEL, a congressional delegation. But Sonny was serious about it, and he wanted me to escort him. Wasn't a whole lot of escorting to do, like there was in Hawaii. But anyway, most of the others, they listened to the obligatory briefing, which I nicknamed Amigo, from Alas, My Eyes Glaze Over. Because they had all these slides and everything.
Oh, my gosh.
Alas, My Eyes
Glaze
Glaze
and they'd hit that button and go, dink, and here we are on the water, dink.
Yeah, the general I worked for, he said, I like that. That's pretty clever. Now redesign the briefing. I said, yes, sir. I can do that. But anyway, back to Sonny. He was a real serious guy, but he had a great sense of humor too, and he was a true patriot. And I don't know, I couldn't obviously speak for him or his family, but I'm pretty sure that one of the most valuable possessions and one that he was proudest of was his combat entry badge.
Oh, I know that's a fact.
In fact, you remember I called you, you sent me a picture of him, and I said, I'm pretty sure that's the CIV he's wearing. And you said, yeah, it is.
That's right.
And he didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk when it came to soldiers and veterans. What a lot of people may not know in Alabama, I hope they do, is that Sonny Montgomery, Alabama and Mississippi, I hope they know that Sonny Montgomery was the architect and the cheerleader for the Montgomery GI Bill.
He sure was.
And without that, a lot of folks out there who are now veterans and doing well would not have been able to do what their predecessors from World War II, when they had such a great GI Bill of Rights. Well, Sonny Montgomery and Sam Nunn and a half a dozen others, including Teddy Kennedy, I might add, who was veterans, they said, "Hey, we need a new educational bill for the veterans." And Sonny said, "Let's do one thing. Let's take it one step further. Let's make sure that the guys that are in the Army already or in the military already can take advantage of it. And oh, by the way, this is a hard hill to climb, but we'd like to put a provision in there where if they don't use it themselves, members of their family can use it," which was unheard of.
Well, he was looking out for them, wasn't he?
He was looking out for him. He really was. And he was a great American.
Tom, I'm coming up against a kind of a hard break, but I want to say one thing, because I know if Sonny was here today, he'd want me to mention this. He'd say he didn't, but that guy was the best dresser in the South, was he not?
He was a sharp dresser. That's right.
I'm talking about he was an elegant dresser, and I wouldn't say.
Let me tell you what he told me one time.
Right.
Let me tell you what he told me one time, because he was, and of course we had to dress that way too. I didn't wear a uniform on Capitol Hill. I wore civilian clothes, and I said, I called him Mr. Montgomery, and then he said, "Just call me Sonny." I said, "That's hard to do, but I'll try." I said, Mr. Montgomery. I said, "What kind of suit is that?" I love that suit. He said, "Well, it's a Joseph A. Bank." He said, "I get Brooks Brothers when I can, and then there's a place I shop down in Meridian that I get a lot of clothes from."
Yeah.
And do you know the name of it?
I do. He bought from Harry Mayer, and he bought from Loeb too down there.
Yeah. But anyway, he was a sharp dresser. But there was a man inside those clothes too.
Oh, he's a great guy.
A spirit.
Awesome.
And
hey, I want to ask you one question.
Made the man. This man made the clothes.
Yeah, we talked about it last night. I don't know. We only got about 4 minutes, but we're talking about the difference. And I've got a great musician sitting across from me. He's got his headphones on his head. When I first looked over there, I thought it was a rabbi, but it's
rabbi.
Yeah, it's Brett Gully's.
Well, hey, man,
there.
you got to be ecumenical or whatever that word is.
Hey, your friend Brett Gully's with us today. But
Brett Gully.
I want to ask you something.
Hey, Brett. Can you say hi or not?
Yeah, he heard you. Just go ahead and say hello.
Hey, Thomas, how are you today?
I'm good, Brett. It's good to hear your voice, and I miss seeing you guys on the Super Nitro Review, and I wish you all the best.
Good, Dad. Maybe we'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll get him to pick up the tab.
There you go.
Hey, Thomas, you were talking to me last night.
I royalty check.
Well, we
got a 35-cent royalty check from Harry Fox.
That's a good one.
Hey,
I wanted to ask you. You were talking about the difference between traditional, the music we grew up with, traditional music, or like, let's don't say just traditional music. Let's just say the music of the 1950s and 1960s and country music into the 1970s, and then the music today. You had an idea too about that you wanted to share.
Well, I'm gonna have to clean it up a little bit for radio, but it's a difference in daylight and dark. In the period that you and I are most familiar with and most enjoyed, loyalty in a record company ran both ways. There was loyalty up to the label, and there was loyalty down from the label. And you think of people like Reba McEntire, and they carried her for a while. They carried other people. They had a lot of those guys on the Grand Ole Opry. They hadn't had a hit in ages, and their label stuck right with them, and they sold a few records.
When right about the time I started in the early '80s, if you had an artist and they believed in them, and they sold about 35 or 40,000 units, they would hang in there with them, watch them develop. And I mean, we go way back. Did you know they hung in there with Sonny James and Furlan Husky and people like that? And all of a sudden,
Vince Gill, they hung in there with Vince Gill.
How many record deals did he have before he really hit? About 3, didn't he?
I don't know, but at least 3. And as you well know, you had a close connection with him because he sang.
He sang backup on some of the songs that were
David
recorded.
Slater
Right.
on some of your songs,
Right.
and he may have harmonized with some.
He harmonized, played a little guitar,
and
played a little golf with us.
And that doesn't happen now for the most part.
I remember watching Vince.
250,000 records if you want to even get another single, man.
I remember watching Vince at McMinnville at the country club, and we were playing golf, and somebody said, well, you know, Vince is so talented. Of course, it was a pure prairie league, and they're saying, I just don't know if he's going to make it. I remember that was about the last comment that we heard that day before we went on up there to the restaurant. Hey, I'm running out of time today.
That was reassuring, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to tell you something. I love you, appreciate you, and I hope you'll come down here before too long and spend some time with us, because I need somebody to help Brett Gully with his guitar playing.
Yeah. Well, I'm really good on the air guitar, and I don't know how good he is on that. But I know he's a great guitar player. Great.
No, he's one of the great.
Probably with coaching.
He's one of the great guitar players in this part of the world. No question about it.
Jack, you need to get Jim McBride down when you can. I just talked to him the other night. He's been so nice to me during my.
Tell him what Jim McBride wrote. Some of the big hits, "Rose in Paradise," and then the big one was. Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee. That's right.
And,
well, he's been down here. I'm going to tell a Jim McBride story. If I got time to tell one real quick. You know, he came down here and did the Circuit Nights Review at the University of West Alabama.
I was down there.
You were down here when that happened. Well, anyway, I put him over at the McConnell House. Well, I've lived on this. There's a railroad that runs right through here. And I'd lived on that railroad track for many, many years. I've been down here about 25 years, and I never thought anything about it. Well, I get a phone call at 3, and, you know, we'd had a little party. You were there. We had a little party and get together and everything.
We had a great party.
And so 3 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call, and it's Jim McBride, and he's kind of distraught and upset and angry with me. I said, what's wrong? He says, Jackie, you didn't tell me about this railroad train passing by. I said, man, I never thought about it. He said, well,
because you get used to it.
He said, well, let me tell you this. He says, I started hearing that hum and roar, and I knew it was a tornado, and I was sitting in the bathtub in my underwear when he blew the whistle.
That's funny.
He thought it was a tornado. Hey, speaking of tornado, we got a whisk on out of here. Thomas Vaughn,
okay, Jackie.
God bless you, Colonel Vaughn, and your service to this country, too.
You bet. Am I through for the day, or are you going to call me back, or what? Is that it?
You're through, as we say down here. You're through. I'll call you back a little later.
Cut me a check.
Cut
me a check.
See you, buddy.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that's the Colonel.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
Welcome to What is Wrong with You People. I'm your host, the Fairy Godmother, and with me today is the Leprechaun.
Hello!
And our good friend, the Gift Horse. Okay, we're pretty much used to people not believing in us.
Makes no sense. All folks gotta do is follow me to a pot of gold. A pot of gold!
And you've seen what I can do with a pumpkin and a wand.
Amen, brother. Right in the mouth.
But why on earth are people putting off going to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com to find a great job?
Gotta believe in those guys.
The jobs are local. It's easy to use.
He nailed it. Completely free.
And still, there are job seekers who haven't logged on to WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com.
What is wrong with you people? I mean, fine. You don't want to trust the little green man.
Fairy godmothers may be a little out of favor today. If wishes were horses.
Good one.
But seriously, no excuses. Go today. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
That you can believe in. Oh, this guy.
Alabama and Mississippi is Talking Back with Jacky Jack.
Any old time you want to come back home, just drop me your line and say no more you're wrong. You had your chance to play the game square. Since you left me, sweetheart, you only left a load of care. Well, but now that you're down, I'm going to stick by you. If you would only say that your roaming days are through, you'll find me coming home, you say. At first I thought I would tell you just to travel on the other way. Oh, but in my memory lingers all you once were to me. So I'm gonna give you another chance just to prove what you can be. Any old time you wanna come back home, just to write me a line and say no more you're wrong. You had your chance to play the game square. Since you left me, sweetheart, you only left a load of care. But now that you're down, I'm going to stick by you. If you would only say that your roaming days are through, you'll find me here like the day you left me alone. Just any old time you wanna come back home. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Britt Gully. I'm not hearing myself too good there, engineer, Mr. Engineer. I am now. Hey, Britt.
Yes, sir.
Britt Gully is from Cow Creek, Mississippi. He is a man who drops his guitar and bounces it up against the microphone. Hey, you playing, what is that today? Is that a Taylor 810?
Yeah, that's my Taylor, my old Taylor.
Yeah, I'm playing a J45. If I'd known you was going to bring that one, I'd have brought the 30th anniversary model.
Well,
Taylor.
I'm glad you got that one. That was Daddy's favorite guitar.
Boy,
that you had.
oh boy.
You could hear it on the radio.
If we
That's
might,
J45, ain't it, boy?
If we might digress, Britt's daddy, Raymond Gully, was one of my dearest friends, and he would listen to us on the radio, and he would know what guitar you were playing. And he did like this guitar a lot. He'd call me up and say, "Hey, was that Gibson J45?" I said, "Yes, it was." But anyway, Britt is very accomplished and great songwriter, great guitar player, and a real good singer, as we say, S-A-N-G-E-R.
That's me.
Singer.
And, crooner. Hillbilly crooner.
He is a crooner. He's a not a rockabilly, you're a honkabilly kind of.
Something like
honkabilly.
that. Depends on what day of the week it is.
Correct. And also you're a very good cow herder. You herd a lot of cows and feed them in this cold weather, which is tough.
Ooh, yeah.
Woo, it gets you attention. But anyway, Britt has been on several, as we still call them, records. But this one that we just played an excerpt from is a historic album and one that's got a lot of critical acclaim. In fact, it got so much critical acclaim that the boy even got sent to England a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the album and tell us a little bit about the things that's open. Of course, you played in New York. Tell a little bit about that.
Played all over the place. The album, Alan Delk from Columbus, Mississippi, had the Lux of Palila Records several years back. And Alan had the idea. He had done some stuff with us at the Jimmy Rogers Festival and different things. And he said, let's see if we can't go back in and record some Jimmy Rogers. You know, I'd done the one-man play of Jimmy Rogers around all over the place, New Orleans and Birmingham, and get on the Amtrak and go do it. And Alan was involved in that. He had talked this up, and we decided it was time to try it. So we managed to talk to Miss Betty Lou Jones, who was the president of the Jimmy Rogers Foundation, and talked to the Jimmy Rogers family, and it suited everybody, and everybody thought it was a good idea. And we got the Jimmy Rogers 1927 Martin guitar out of the safe down there. Gingerly tuned it up, got it ready to roll, checked it out to see that it was all okay.
We're on live radio. I don't know if I've told you this or not. Did I tell you that I played the guitar that Jimmy Rogers learned to play guitar on?
I didn't know that.
I did. I was over in Pine Springs. Mississippi.
I've heard of this guitar.
You've heard of that place, haven't you? And there's a doctor over there that owns it.
Yeah.
And he let me play that guitar. I got to tell you something. Of course, I played Mother Maybell's guitar on television, things like that, and I played the guitar that you played many, many times that they have over in the safe in the museum belonged to Jimmy Rogers. But I got to tell you, there was a real sensation going through my heart, body, and soul when I played that guitar and thinking that this is a guitar that he learned to play on.
Yeah,
that's something else.
Magic and mojo left in them old
That's right. But tell what kind of reaction did you get off of this album? And tell me what's the actual name of the album?
Britt Gully, Jimmy Rogers guitar. We gathered up a few of our buddies around Meridian and got them on it, and then had a few ringers from Nashville involved in the thing too. And
right.
We went in the museum down there and set up a recording studio in there. And played it all and recorded it. And we were originally going to do 10 tracks, but I think we wound up with 16. It got to being such fun and sounding so good.
It's a great number, too. I mean, you just, 10's not enough when you've got an enjoyable CD, and that is an enjoyable CD, and I recommend it to anybody. It's a fact. They can get it on Amazon and everywhere else, can't they?
I think they can.
And, of course, just call the museum.
Yeah, they've got it at the museum down there.
In Meridian.
And it was quite an experience. And like you say, playing that old guitar, Ernest Tubb kept that thing on the road for 30, 40 years.
It's amazing. It was stolen once, wasn't it?
Stolen once. Some drunk picked it up and walked out of a bar with it and went to the next bar and set it down. And
wow.
I don't think he knew what he was doing. He just walked out of there with the guitar.
Wow.
But it scared Ernest into deciding, well, we better leave this one at the house.
Yeah, that changed his whole outlook on it. Peter Frampton's guitar was stolen from him, the one that he made his big hit albums off of, and then it turned up about 35 years later.
Long time later. That black Les Paul with 3 pickups.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. We're going to ask you to do a song or two here today, just live, and then we might play some other tracks. But tell me, how did it all come about that you went to New York with this, and you also went to England?
They have at Mississippi Picnic in New York. They didn't have it the last couple of years, I think, but the last year, maybe they'll start up again.
But it was really popular up there, because I had people from New York, residents, calling me up and telling me, do you know this guy named Britt Gully? I said, yeah, he's got a lot of twang going on.
There's a lot of displaced Mississippians in New York City.
Sure are.
And they have that picnic up there once a year, and a lot of them come out to it, and a lot of New York folks are just so happy to find somebody that's friendly and some music going on. They come out to it too.
Did you play in Central Park?
In Central Park.
Yeah.
And once again, Miss Betty Lou Jones played largely in that, and she had some connections.
And then what about the England thing? The England connection. That's a festival over there.
Yeah, the Maverick Festival. Let me see. Dee Dee Mogion from the tourism there in Lauderdale County, Meridian, managed to arrange all of that, and we've been over there the last 2 years. And first year we went, they were dedicating it and had a portion of the show that was for Jimmy Rogers. So Drew Young and Dee Dee Mogion lined it up, said, we know somebody needs to come and MC that. So we jumped off the plane, and I ran on stage and MC'd a bunch of Englishmen singing Jimmy Rogers songs. It was a big deal over there. They're lots of fans of that type of music. Everybody that was involved with the festival wanted to do a song. And then this past year, I went back again. They wanted me to come back, just do my deal this time. So there's about 5 or 6 different stages set up. You just go from one to the other and put on
But I got to
shows.
tell you, the English country music fan, he is a true and loyal bird, is he not?
Yeah.
They love the traditional music. And
they go pretty deep on things. They'll holler out requests for songs. Let's say Hank Williams, they'll holler out a request for some song that nobody's ever heard. And
That's right.
Kind of deal.
That's right.
And
I played over there and found out that, because several times, but they love rockabilly, and they're just like disciples of rockabilly.
Yeah, if you scare me, that's what I go to. I jump and I'm rockabilly.
Well, I love rockabilly. manager for Ernest Tubb all those years was Hayes Jones. Did you ever meet him?
No, but I've heard of it.
Well, he lived across the street from me when I was a kid.
Your neighbor.
Yes, right. He looked like Desi Arnaz, you know, back when he was young. And I didn't even know this, but Hayes had recorded some rockabilly records. And they had done pretty well in England, not over here, but in England. This is like the mid-1950s. Well, Hayes went on managing Ernest and everything. He got to be an old man, like what happens to people if they live long enough. And so, anyway, he looked like an old man. And he kind of moved around like an old man. He gets a phone call from somebody in Liverpool. And they say, we would be very honored if you came over here and you headed up our festival. We have a great Hayes Jones following over here. He had no idea. And so they asked him if he wouldn't dress up like a rockabilly artist. So he had to go through his old clothes, and he had a lot of nice sport coats when I was a kid. I remember watching him get dressed and getting that Cadillac and everything. So he went over there, and he kind of remembered what he could do, and they had a blast. He was just so popular. But when he came home, Hayes was about 65, 66 years old when this happened. But he had a kid that was like in the 6th or 7th grade, and he went to school. He said, "You folks aren't going to believe this, but my daddy's a rock star in England." That's great, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Hey, well, why don't you play one?
Well, I think I will. Why don't you grab that Gibson guitar and you play it with me? This is a homemade one, written by me and...
I guess that would be Jacky Jack White.
Me and you. It's a Alabama boy in this song.
Yes, sir. The Alabama boy.
The Alabama boy. Smell that secondhand smoke and the high life there. Breathe it right on in, deep in, and take the honky-tonk cure. I ain't the only fool she ever left this way. She broke me down, but I know how to wash it off all the way. Just let it all hang out. There's nothing left to do. You can't hold it in when you've had your fill of the lovesick blues. Don't let her leave you crying, trying, lying not to let her fall. When the blues come round and you're whiskey bound, let it all hang out. I've seen that Cadillac car.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. With the blue leather seats. He drove himself too far, way too far, and handed Charlie the key. So play cold, cold heart. Let me hear that pain. Let that neon shine, shine, shine deep into my brain. Just let it all hang out. There's nothing left to do. You can't hold it in when you fell to the ground with the lovesick blues. Don't let her leave you crying, trying, lying not to let her fall. When the blues come round and you're whiskey bound, let it all hang out. Well, I can see her across the dance floor, looks like she's looking too. Well, it's times like this you ask yourself, what would a drifting cowboy do? Just let it all hang out. There's nothing left to do. You can't hold it in when you've had your fill of the lovesick blues. Don't let her leave you crying, trying, lying not to let them fall. When the blues come round and you're whiskey bound, let it eastbound, let it all hang out. Hey, hey!
Man.
Put here to party in Robitus.
Man. Wasn't that fantastic? Let's take a little break. We'll come back with some more music.
You're listening to Talkin' Back with Jacky Jack.
Hurry in now for our first big sale of the year.
And at Kia of Meridian, get paid for your trade. Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
I told them the payment I wanted, and they made it happen.
They got me into a brand new car and lowered my payment.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
And new for 2018, we have the Vehicle Exchange Program. If you're in a current vehicle or lease that you don't like or your payment's too high, we want to lower your payment and get you into a new Kia for less.
Plus, only $17 down delivers.
Call now, 601-483-6444.
I was in and out in a flash, and I got a great deal.
Everyone was so nice. They treated me just like family.
Nobody's going to pay you more than Kia of Meridian, so call now.
Call Kia of Meridian now, 601-483-6444. Always open at KiaofMeridian.com.
Example stock number 872887, 2016 Kia Soul, MSRP $22,220, $17 down, $272 a month for 84 months at 3.9% APR financing. Dealer retains all factory rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and doc fee with approved credit. Guaranteed credit approval may require money down. See dealer for details.
Dr. Russ MacArthur of MacArthur Chiropractic in Meridian says many back pains are merely a result of your body's attempt to regain or maintain balance. Once balance is achieved, these attempts become unnecessary and your back returns to normal. Dr. Russ MacArthur, developer of the MacArthur Method, recognizes the balance patterns the body uses and facilitates this recovery. Quite often, this recovery is accelerated and stabilization is obtained in only a few visits. Since 1978, Dr. Russ MacArthur has given thousands of adjustments with the powerful MacArthur Method. His patients feel better, are more relaxed and stable in the back than ever before. Call today to discover his revolutionary treatment method for yourself. MacArthur Chiropractic, 4808 Great River Drive, Meridian, 601-693-1100. Hours are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 until 12 and 2 till 6. Tuesday and Thursday, 9 till 12. Call 601-693-1100 and online at MacArthurChiropractic.com.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
Britt and I were just talking between the breaks here, and it's amazing about this particular song we're thinking about attempting, and that is one of the first albums that I ever had was Big Hits, High Tide and Green Grass by the Rolling Stones. And it's all over now. Was that by Bobby Womack, wasn't it?
Womack,
who was one of the great guitar players and writers. And he started out as a teenager with Sam Cooke. And in fact, when Sam died, Bobby was still about 18, 19 years old. He married Sam's widow, which that's another story. But anyway, this song is a great song. And then years, you live long enough, things will happen. The Brian Jones fan club of the Rolling Stones. The Brian Jones fan club found out about me about, 15 years ago or something. And boy, they put me in their magazine, the whole 9 yards. Boy. And mainly because they knew how much I enjoyed Brian Jones and the Rolling Stones. But here's one of their early songs, and hey, this probably doesn't make any sense for us to do this song today, but it's my show, and I'm very self-indulgent.
There you go. I'm right in there with you.
Let's do it.
Well, baby used to stay out all night long. She made me cry and she done me wrong. But now my eyes is open and there's no lie. The tables are turning, now it's her turn to cry. You know I used to love her, but it's all over now. You know I used to love her, but it's all over now.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I used to wake the morning, get my breakfast in bed. When I got worried, she would eat my aching head. Well, I found her out, it was a pity how she cried. The table they turned and now it's her turn to cry. You know I used to love her, Jack. Well, I used to run around.
Yeah, you did.
Every gal in town. Spending all my money playing high-class games. But now my eyes is open and there's no lie. The tables are turning, now it's her turn to cry. You know I used to love her, but it's all over now. Ow, ow. Because I used to love her, but it's all over now. You know I used to love her, but it's all over now. Because I used to love her, but it's all over now.
In DeKalb, Mississippi.
All right now.
I done that one live on the BBC when
Come
we were
on
in
now.
England. Right during drive time, the old boy said, "Oh, do you have some English music you'd like to do for us?" Of course I do.
And I'd like to do the Lester Flat version.
Yeah.
It's I used to love her, but it's all over now. Boy, I got to tell you, that brings back some awesome memories. I love that song so much. I remember when we did the tribute to the British Wave music. Remember that show?
Yeah, I got up there and done.
Get close to your microphone.
Okay.
What did you do?
Satisfaction.
Oh yeah, I can't get no satisfaction.
I don't know what all I done. I think I done a Rod Stewart. Too,
Yeah,
So.
and we did. Well, of course, we did House of the Rising Sun, and then we had that good friendly debate about how to end that song because nobody ever ends it right.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
it ends on that off chord.
Yeah, it's
wrong chord.
It's a crash chord, kind of like an A minor, kind of like that. You know, we talk about a 9 and different things, but the folks out in radio land don't know what in the world.
Or
we're talking
care.
about. Or care. That's right. Again, it's neither here nor there. Well, what's about the most fun you've ever had playing music anywhere? Can you think about the one thing that stands
Gosh,
out?
that Suganacci Review is a world of fun, and it comes back in a bunch of doses too.
That's right.
You don't just get to do it once.
That's
You
right.
get to come back and do it again. I'm so glad we got that started again down there.
Well, we had a great reception, didn't we, last
big
Friday?
crowd
We had a
and
big
good
crowd, but
music.
what a show that was. And you did a great job, and old Mississippi Chris came back and did a good job. The
Yeah.
stage hands, they
There
were
knocked a home run.
yelling about them, and then we put a lot of new artists out there, which is a lot of fun.
Tyler jumped up there and knocked it out of
Tyler,
the park,
he was great, wasn't he?
wearing a John B. Stetson Stratoliner on his head.
I'm going to tell you about that Stratoliner. We need to take a break, I guess, another minute or two. But I was going to tell you that I always buy my hats, almost all of them, up around Athens, Alabama, at Preston Western Wire. That's pronounced Western Wire. So anyway, you know, when I'm on the interstate and I'm going up and I'm going back, I might be in a hurry, but I just almost start trembling. I'm not kidding you. When I'm passing that exit, it's hard for me to pass that exit. So I was coming back from a whirlwind trip last Saturday, and I stopped there, and I bought 3 hats.
3 hats?
Yeah, I did. One of them, though, this guy says, you know, Jack, what you ought to get, because you used to have one a long time, you need to get a Stradliner. I said, well, I can't buy a Stradliner. I said, why is that? I said, well, I got a guy on the show. We just made him a regular, and he wears a Stradliner. He said, what color is it? I said, well, it's kind of silver belly. He goes, well, buy a black one. So I bought a black Stradliner. I love those hats.
I've been looking for one for a year or so.
You can't find them much any place, you know.
So, yeah,
I like them because
Tyler trumped me now.
It kind of gives you that Chicago gangster look. You know, I go for that.
Cow Creek gangster with me.
I like to scare people, you know, when I walk down the streets of the Queen City, and also here in Sumter County at Livingston.
Like my grandpa said, a bluff's good as anything else if it works.
Correct, man. Well, look, you know, we was talking about, you know, having fun on the review and everything like that, but you used to travel around with Scotty Bob McQuigg.
Yeah.
And y'all were, his record deal was, what label was that? Was that Capitol?
MCA.
What was MCA?
Universal, and then it moved over to MCA.
And help me, and I hope you can remember. What was the guy who ran MCA back in those days? What was that guy's name? You know, he retired, and then he went over to Belmont.
Yeah, Jimmy Bowen was there.
Well, Jimmy Bowen was a big producer. James Stroud was a producer over there. They had another guy running that place. I can't think of his name.
Tony something.
Yeah, it'll come to me. But anyway, nice experience there, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Y'all did videos
we
and whole
rambled around a good bit and played
with everybody.
A lot of Western swing we played, too.
Great
we
stuff.
Started doing George Strait type stuff. Of course, Scott's a great songwriter and all.
Right. Well, you are
doing that stuff and playing in big old dance halls out in Texas, and that's when they still wanted to hear Bob Wills stuff.
Absolutely.
That type thing.
Could you deliver?
Yeah.
Cindy
we went
Walker.
to school on that stuff.
Yeah, my buddy, she wrote a bunch of songs for them.
Yeah. We may do a Cindy Walker song here in a
Let's do it. And look, you know, the thing about it is I called her on one time because she was a really devout Christian, and I'd ask her if she's going to go see Bob Wills or whoever at the honky tonk. No, I can't go where angels don't tread. I said, well, that's good. Well, anyway, she wrote that great song, Bubbles in My Beer.
Yeah.
Just an awesome song. Well, anyway, I called her. I said, Cindy, what about that song? It's got beer in there, Bubbles in My Beer. She said, oh, love, that's a morality tale. So she slid by on that. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with some more music.
More Talking Back with Jacky Jack is on the way.
Dr. Russ MacArthur of MacArthur Chiropractic in Meridian says many back pains are merely a result of your body's attempt to regain or maintain balance. Once balance is achieved, these attempts become unnecessary and your back returns to normal. Dr. Russ MacArthur, developer of the MacArthur Method, recognizes the balance patterns the body uses and facilitates this recovery. Quite often, this recovery is accelerated and stabilization is obtained in only a few visits. Since 1978, Dr. Russ MacArthur has given thousands of adjustments with the powerful MacArthur Method. His patients feel better, are more relaxed and stable in the back than ever before. Call today to discover his revolutionary treatment method for yourself. MacArthur Chiropractic, 4808 Great River Drive, Meridian, 601-693-1100. Hours are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 until 12 and 2 till 6. Tuesday and Thursday, 9 till 12. Call 601-693-1100 and online at MacArthurChiropractic.com.
Not one phone call. No one understands your darn newspaper classified ad.
Sir, I am looking at our darn newspaper classified ad now, and it is perfectly clear. Sir, Ingrid missed hip, expect to perf to cap, educ neck filler, pit time, immediate open, exit pennies.
What does that mean?
Sir, you place the ad.
With a newspaper classified ad, you get very limited space. Most job seekers don't speak classifiedese.
Sir, Ingrid is short for senior engineer.
Well, we need to change the ad.
Well, you missed today's deadline, but if we hurry, your new ad will appear in,
Please.
3 days.
Oh, no. Ta-da! Your recruitment alternative has arrived. Online at WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Difference number 1. You have unlimited words to describe a position. 2. The ad is placed instantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 3. Once you place your ad, you can search the online database of local resumes, all for a cost lower than your newspaper ad. Browse your way online at WestAlabamaHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
End-of-life care for a loved one is a decision that many families will make. Legacy Hospice in West Alabama and East Mississippi provides appropriate care and is sensitive to the needs of a loved one and their families. Legacy Hospice provides home care for terminally ill patients and support services for pain and symptom control for terminally ill people and their families, including medical care by patients attending physicians, nursing services, volunteers, social work, and pastoral care. Reimbursements may be available through Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. To learn more or to be a community hospice volunteer, visit legacyhospice.net. That's legacyhospice.net or call 800-580-8479. Legacy Hospice, a family of companies creating a legacy in end-of-life care.
Alabama and Mississippi is Talking Back with Jackie Jack.
All right, I'm back, Talking Back with Jackie Jack, and we just talking while I was in the break. Cindy Walker was one of my best friends of all time, and Mary Mack, my middle child, Cindy was the godmother for Mary McCollum White, and she had 481 songs, I believe I'm telling this right, that charted. I mean, she just was prolific, but she also had quality, like You Don't Know Me and In the Misty Moonlight and Sweet Dream Baby, and even gospel songs like Child of the King were just out of this world. But one song stood out in my mind as one of the greatest songs ever written, and it never was really a charted hit. And Don Cherry, and we've been talking about golf earlier and everything, Don Cherry was probably in the top 5 amateur golfers of the 50s and early 60s, and he played in the Masters 8 times as an amateur, which is unheard of. And he almost won the 1960 U.S. Open that Arnold Palmer won. Mm-hmm. He was in running to the last 3 holes, and he told me, he's from Texas, you know. He says, well, Jack, I'll tell you, there's a reason why I lost that. He says, I choked. But anyway, you got to be mighty good to be in a position to choke on the PGA Tour. And he was playing as an amateur. But in 1951, he had a #1 hit as a singer. He was one of Dean Martin's favorite singers. He had a #1 hit on Band of Gold, and he had a couple of 3 or 4 more songs that charted. And then from that time on, he sang in nightclubs and did the Mr. Clean commercial, made more off the Mr. Clean commercial than he did on anything else because he took residuals. But he was a friend of everybody. He's a friend of Fred Foster's, and Fred Foster is still with us, and he's a prolific producer and one of the best in Nashville. Produced everywhere, everybody from Brenda Lee to Willie Nelson to Chris Christopherson to, in fact, he's listed as a co-writer on Me and Bobby McGee. He just gave him the idea, but Chris says, I got to put your name on there because it's such a good idea. But Fred produced an album off of Don Cherry, and it was one of the best albums that ever came out in Nashville, and it had this song written by Cindy that I think is one of the best songs ever, and I can't think of anybody better than Britt Gully to lay it upon us right now.
Let's tear into this. Right. When you leave Amarillo,
you better turn out the lights. That's right.
Say that you're leaving, and I can't say it takes me by surprise. But hearing you say it, girl, just knocks the tears out of my eyes. Don't know what I'll do, but girl, I'll try to do it right. When you leave Amarillo, turn out the lights. When you walk out to stay, for me it's over anyway. When you leave Amarillo, turn out the lights. Play, Jack. whenever you leave, nothing will ever be the same. My heart will be empty like these sad old lonesome windswept plains. Give him your tomorrow, oh, but girl, give me tonight. When you leave Amarillo, turn out the light. Oh. When you walk out to stay, for me it's over anyway. When you leave Amarillo,
when you leave Amarillo,
turn out the lights. When you leave Amarillo, turn out the lights.
Oh, now look, here's the thing about it. Folks don't know this, but we do this radio show without a net. That was an option. They said you can do the radio show with a net or you can do it without a net. And I said, I'm a professional. I want to do it without the net.
Yeah. Who wants a net for anything?
Brett comes in here and I said, why don't you do a Cindy Walker song? He just picks the hardest song in the whole catalog to play, but it is a gorgeous song.
Wonderful song.
Isn't that a fantastic song?
You get to use your Eldon Shambling chords on it and all that.
Well, you get to use them. I'm just using the Jacky Jack White chords. I write straight out of the Mail Bay $1 chord book. Did you know when I first got that, my aunt Margaret D bought me a Mail Bay chord book, and this is 1964 or 5, whatever it was, and it had right there in red letters on that plastic, cover, it says Mail Bay $1, $1, and then it says chord book, and so people would ask me over the years, how do I learn how to play? And I was being serious. I say, well, what you need to do, you need to get you a Mail Bay $1 chord book. And, of course, it wasn't long before that Mail Bay $1 chord book was costing you $14.95, you know. Hey, Brett, it's been an awesome pleasure to have you on the show. What do you want to do? You want to do another song of some kind? What do you want to do? What do you want to haul off and do? By the way, folks, it's been great being on Talking Back with Jacky Jack. We thank our sponsors. We're so thankful for all of them, and think about Diamond Gems and Dr. Russ MacArthur and all Dr. Bobby and Dr. Becky Williams with Legacy Hospice. Great folks, all of them. We're thankful for our sponsors. What are you going to do?
Let's do, since my bride, Kimberly Jean, is at home at Cow Creek, piled up in the bed listening to us on the radio.
She got that Holy Comforter.
I think she does.
Church of the Holy Comforter. What are you going to play?
Let's do South Virginia Sweet Thing.
Very good. What key?
It's in the key of C.
All right, man.
She said, sail from the old Dominion, a mermaid in cowgirl shoes, where she loves it, where she's planted, but she keeps them homesick blues. Well, I knew all along I'd find her. It just took a little while. I got a South Virginia sweet thing, and she's steady on my mind. We deemed it necessary for loving all the time. We've set aside our hair on out for making up lost time. That don't leave much room for rambling. There she's by my side. I got a South Virginia sweet thing, and she's steady on my mind. Turn around, Jack. Well, I'm way down deep in Dixie, 'neath that Mississippi sun, singing loud for nobody much, but I finally found the one. When she thinks it's time to travel, we just saddle up and ride. I got a South Virginia sweet thing, and she's steady on my mind. We deemed it necessary for loving all the time. We've set aside our hair on outs for making up lost time. Well, I don't need much room rambling. There she's by my side. I got a South Virginia sweet thing staying steady on my mind. One more turn around, Jack. The Gibson guitar. She bakes me them chocolate pies and that Brunswick County stew. Counting blessings on our porch swing neath the Mississippi moon. Well, I think we've got this figured out, and it's all gonna be just fine. Well, I got a South Virginia sweet thing steady on my mind. Well, I believe we've got this figured out, and it's all gonna be just fine.
Just fine.
I got a South Virginia sweet thing.
She got a sister?
Steady on my mind.
WLYB-FM, Livingston, York, Demopolis. W263CF, Meridian. Live and local. The Twin States, WLYB.
January is the month to pick up savings at Livingston Marketplace. No gimmicks, no bull. No minimums or limits on what you can purchase at Livingston Marketplace. Right now, USDA Choice Star Ranch Angus Family Pack T-Bone steaks are only $5.99 a pound. Or USDA Inspected Family Fresh Pack Split Mar Chicken Breast, just $1.19 a pound. Enjoy tasty tomatoes. On the vine, $1.98 a pound. 4-pound bags of California Navel Oranges or 3-pound bags of Mineolas, a great source of vitamin C, are only $3.98 each. Livingston Marketplace now serves breakfast weekdays and Saturday mornings starting at 7. It's the Livingston Marketplace. Get up and go breakfast. EBT cards, WIC vouchers, and UWA Tiger